Today I'm going to briefly explain this concept of performing versus being. Okay, this is something that a lot of great psychologists and philosophers have talked about, so I'm just paraphrasing it here. Most of us, we live in this constant state of performance, right? We always have this critic inside our heads who's constantly scrutinizing us, and this critic is often the voice of our parents, our teachers, our elders who passed judgment on us in childhood, who really shaped how we looked at ourselves, and that critic lives inside our head. So even when nobody is watching, we feel like we have to perform, right? And when our performance does not meet the standard that we have set for ourselves, then we feel shame, right? Now when it comes to shame, shame is something that could make us behave in a socially acceptable manner, maybe. It does, but then it can also be something that really hurts us. If it is something that if we are feeling shame about something that's entirely human and entirely natural for human beings, right? There are people who feel shame for feeling sad. There are people who feel shame for feeling angry. So when that kind of thing happens, it's really bad for us. So as adults, what we do is we constantly try to put on this show, right? We try to project ourselves. We try to show ourselves as this person that we think is socially acceptable and we think is right. But then that person that we show ourselves to be is completely different from who we really are. So we are human beings who feel sad, who feel angry, who, sometimes we don't want to work in the way that everybody else expects. Sometimes we just want to relax on the sofa. Sometimes we don't want to do the things that our family expects from us, but then we still do all those things, right? We still do what everybody else expects from us because we don't know who we are if we are not performing. We don't know how to function if we are not performing, and then we pass that down to our children as well. On the contrary, simply being is just, you don't have that kind of pressure in your own head. You're not putting that pressure on yourself to appear to be something that is socially acceptable. You're just relaxing. You're just being who you are in that minute. So whatever feelings are coming up, whatever thoughts are coming up, you're just accepting all of that without any judgment. That's a state of being. Okay, and all of us experience it in some way or the other, at different points in our life. Sometimes it's when we are talking to a very good friend, someone who's very close to us, and all that pressure to perform just melts away and you're just enjoying each other's company, nothing else, right? Sometimes it is when we are in nature, when we are observing a beautiful sight of nature. Maybe some people feel it when they are looking at water. Some people do feel it when they are with little children. They feel that pressure to perform just melts away, and then you are just you over there. You're nothing else, right? So most of us have something or the other that shifts us from this performance mode into this being mode. But then how wonderful would it be if we were able to just exist for more time? Right? Instead of getting into that state only once or twice a year, how wonderful would it be if we could do that every time we were at home? Or how wonderful would it be if we scheduled time every week for us to just be instead of trying to perform? Now for different people, it's, that feeling of being it comes differently. Some people really need to be alone to be able to get into that state of just existing. Because if there are people, they know they will perform. Some people can do it with other people around if they are really close to those other people. Some people are able to get into that being mode if they are surrounded by strangers, but they're not able to do it if they are surrounded by people who know them. So it's different for different people. But, as adults, we all need to spend more time in that state of being rather than in that state of performance, because our children are watching. And we want to pass down this idea, this firm belief that they are good enough as they are. This like teaching them that they are only worthy of love and attention and like care and protection only if they are performing the way other people want them to perform. If we put that kind of pressure on them, that actually limits their potential. We think it's going to make them better, but it's not, because then they are constantly obsessing over how they appear rather than about who they are truly. So instead of trying to be good people, they try to appear to be on the right side. Instead of trying to just be competent, instead of developing skills and enjoying the process, instead of learning things and enjoying that process, they will try to appear to be learned people. They'll try to appear to be skillful people, and that actually limits them. Because as a society, we are so obsessed with appearances that we have forgotten about stuff. We've forgotten about substance. We've forgotten to teach our children to just be who they are. Because we are constantly teaching them to appear to be socially respectable, successful, intelligent, hardworking, honest, this, that, and the other. We don't really care about who they are as people. So as adults, number one, we need to be able to accept that state of being within ourselves. A state where we are not performing, a state where we are not giving in to the shame that has been drilled into us from our childhood. Number two, we have to make our society a safe space for children to just be, instead of performing all the time. Instead of always trying to study, always trying to make them work hard, always trying to make them talk in this way, sit in this way, eat in this way. I mean, teaching etiquette and all, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but then constantly observing them to make them perform in that way is only going to give them anxiety. It's not going to make them exceptional people. So give them space to just be themselves, and give yourself space to just be yourself. And then you see how your life gets even more amazing than you could have ever imagined.